Dear Sports Interactive and Sega, I've wanted to make this video for quite some time, and I just wanted to gather my thoughts. This video is going to be a little bit about my history of Football Manager, but it's more an open letter to the people at Sports Interactive, Miles and all the other great developers there at Sports Interactive, and also their parent company Sega, and to talk about the game, but more importantly for me is to talk about how you talk or how you deal with marketing and this rise of streamers and YouTubers and social media people that are so important to the gaming industry as a whole. So, firstly, I want to just say a tiny bit about me. You know, I've been playing Football Manager for over 20 years. It's a very important part of my life. It's not just a game I love. It's a massive part of my life. It's a massive part of my YouTube channel. And so it means much more to me than just a game I enjoyed. And I, more than anything, want to see it succeed and grow and become this huge phenomenon and even more so than it is now. And I feel like that's really, it's quite important to me. And if one day, let's say, for instance, you know, next year you announce you were not making it anymore because it was making no money, I'd miss the game itself, but I'd miss the fact that that part of my life has ended. And so I feel like I'm into Football Manager, maybe a bit too deep, but I'm in, right? I'm in and all the way. And over the last few years, I think there has been a decline, not so much in the game. I think there's some stagnation in the game. Obviously, it's very hard to improve a game of football. There's rules of football. This is how it's played. You do all the detail. You know, there's no revolutionary new things on FIFA every year because you've got the main game down and you're just sort of tinkering with it. But I still feel like there's more that can be done in the game. But that's not really what this video is about. This is about how you treat YouTubers and streamers, or you don't treat them. You don't really do anything with them. And that's why I think it's such a massive mistake. And this is not coming from me. I will happily, as part of this video, I will happily count myself out of any future deals or sponsorship or anything involved in Sports Interactive, if that's how you want it to be, just because I'd rather just get my points across and help the game, rather I'm not doing this for myself, right, at all. You know, so I'm happy to step away and say, look, these are my ideas, have them. I won't be involved if you don't want me to. That's fine, because I made this video. I was the one putting forward the ideas. Otherwise, it's just like me saying, do this, because then you'll give me more popularity or more views or more money or whatever. It's not about that in the slightest. So the problem I see it is just the complete lack of communication with social media people, with YouTubers, with Twitch streamers. And I think because you must undervalue what we do for your game. And I think you massively undervalue it. Like, there's a reason why every other single games company in the world is all over these YouTubers and these streamers and these personalities, because they sell games. We sell games, okay? I'll give you a perfect little example. Motorsport Manager is a game that I've been playing on my Let's Play channel for, you know, a good few months since it came out. I've really enjoyed it. I could screenshot you at least 50 comments of people saying, this looks fun, I've just bought it, right? Sales happen, and I've only got a little YouTube channel, right? Sales happen every day from these YouTube videos. And I've heard it said that the reason you don't get involved is because of copyright things, because, you know, there's no badges in the game, but you could download them from Steam Workshop or one of the other sites, and therefore you're copyright infringing because you have those logos, and therefore you can't touch it. Firstly, that's utter bullshit, because most games have Steam Workshop access enabled. Most games, therefore, have some sort of copyright infringement, all sorts of copyright, like even not related to the same thing. Like, I'm just as an example, there was you know, you can get old Total War mods that were something totally different, like a Disney version of Total War, and that doesn't stop Sega, your company that owns you, Doesn't stop Sega from promoting these channels, giving promotional copies to YouTubers and streamers, giving them a copy to give out as a competition win, giving them early access so they can do a first impressions video and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's nothing to do with it. That's just a real bad excuse that if you just dig, that's not true at all. And even let's say it was the case, and that's why you can't talk to YouTubers, because we download stuff that makes the game copyrighted. I guarantee, if you approached a YouTuber for FM18 and said, look, mate, got this idea, we want to give you like an hour-long early access 3 weeks before game comes out, just to build a bit of hype about it. We'll give you early access for a couple of hours. You can make a video on it. All's good, But as part of that, you can't download any badges. You can't download anything that might be considered copyright. They would all do it. They'd all do it. I'd do it. It would not be a problem if that was the deal. If you were that worried about that sort of thing, nobody would care. They would happily do it. And I think the thing that annoys me most is it's not like I'm asking, it's a massive £1 million investment. You would literally need one junior person in your office. Hire one junior person to do your social media and to liaise with YouTubers, Twitch creators, all those sort of things. And it would be one junior wage to increase your exposure massively. And this is not just about getting people to play the game. Like I said, there's you send out review copies or give them early access, or a competition prize, or all the sort of things you do. Sponsor a stream, sponsor a video. Another thing, you've got your own YouTube channel. The last video you made on your own YouTube channel is 6 months ago. That's just bizarre. And I think part of the reason is because you've got no competition. And because competition is always a good thing, because it forces you to improve faster. And because you have none, I think you're just getting on with it. Sports Interactive isn't a small company. I checked your LinkedIn. It says between 51 and 200 staff. In your own description you wrote, it's 100 plus staff, right? This is not a little company that goes, we can't afford somebody on 15 grand a year to tweet about stuff or liaise with YouTubers, right? You'd make that money back tenfold instantly. One of the biggest problems with Football Manager, as it currently stands, and you know this yourself because that's why you created the watered-down version, is its barrier to entry. Right now, you have a big player base of people like me that have played it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? But one day, sooner or later, we're all going to start dying off. Right? Your game, joking aside, your game is really hard to get into, even if you're like a massive football fan. If I showed half my friends that are football fans, okay, let's just imagine I've got friends. If I showed my imaginary football friends, football friend, leave it, that I've got, you mate, you love football, look, let's play football, you should play this game, Football Manager. And I have tried. I've tried to get my nephew, who is a big season ticket fan and a big season ticket holder at Bournemouth. And I've said, because I know he'd love it, he's into gaming, play this. And after 10 minutes, he's just, I don't know what's fucking going on, mate. I don't really understand it. I'm finding it too hard. And you know that because that's why the reason the classic exists and all this sort of stuff. But there's not a tutorial. Little yellow pop-up question marks do not a tutorial make. They are awful. It's like some half-assed, well, there you go. That'll do. You've got such a high barrier to entry. And there's things you could do to fix that. And that is, and this goes back to my point about getting YouTubers involved, getting Twitch streamers involved, is that, let's say you take, some of the big YouTubers of Football Manager and say to them, look, mate, can you do we'll pay you or we'll sponsor you to do a Football Manager guide, and use your channel. Maybe put them on your own channel, or maybe let them put it on their channel for extra exposure and do guides and helpful tips. Not just expect us to magically come up with all these ideas and stuff like that. You need a way of getting more people to play the game, because if you're sitting still as a company, you're going backwards, right? And that's how it feels Football Manager is. And what you need to do is get these people involved. If you said to me, hi Loki, can you do like how to start a new game? like a 5-minute video for our YouTube channel, right? I do that for free because we all benefit. Firstly, you're going to make it easier for people to start the game. Secondly, I get a bit of exposure. I might get a few new subscribers from it. I link my channel or talk about my channel in your video on your channel. You know, I get some subscribers. You get some more people able to play the game. Like Miles used to do, like, you know, I think because Miles is very good at what he does, but he used to do things like, you know, the feature roulette and the tweeting, and he's the main sort of PR of the company, right? But that's not how it's done. That's not how you do it as a company. You don't have one of the head guys basically doing the marketing, right? Yes, have him in some videos because he's a massively important thing, but let him get on with his actual job most of the time. You know, make use of people like me, people like other FM YouTube creators that you enjoy, you know, and get them to make videos for you. Get them to make a tutorial for you. Get them to make a guide on something about Football Manager. Start trying to build a system, because then you could, on your own YouTube channel, you could have a playlist of how to play Football Manager. And it could be 10 videos talking about the various aspects of understanding Football Manager, understanding all these numbers and spreadsheets and stuff that we look at. That is such an important part, because as the game gets more and more complex, which it is, it gets harder for a new player to get involved. And with no tutorial and yellow question marks as your basic how to play the game, it's ludicrous, you know. And it's sort of so far behind the times. It seems to be the forgotten part. And it feels like you're content with the player base you have. But what company in the world is just content with what they've got? Like I said, if you're not trying to grow, you're going backwards. And yes, there's no competition right now. You know, the only real competition is, say, FIFA. It has that manager mode, you know, which is not real competition at all. But they have the database, and that's where your asset is. Your asset is the database, and obviously, you know, you sell your database. I think, you know, they use it on Sky Sports now, and that's all cool to see and everything like that. But you're just sitting there. It feels like you're sitting there thinking, well, we've got scouts all around the world. We've got this amazing big database. No one's ever going to be able to do that. So, yeah, just don't worry about it. Let the numbers come in and the money come in. But one day somebody will. And you'll be so far behind that they'll come out with this fresh, shiny new product where they've licensed the database from FIFA or whatever. And it'll blow you out of the water because you've been sitting on your laurels. And you know, it's hard because I know, obviously, all you guys work your nuts off every year to produce a game. And I'm not belittling that. I still absolutely adore the game. I think this year's version is fantastic. But you've got to not just be a company that makes good games. You've got to do the other stuff. Like I said, there is a reason why every single game company, bar Nintendo, but even they do it, they just take some of the profits from people, actively pursue YouTubers, Twitch streamers, social media people with influencers, that's why it's a word, to help them promote their games. You know, look at the For Honor release, for instance, right? Big game. You know, they could have sat back and gone, you know, it's a big game, it's getting lots of coverage, we'll just, you know, sit back and see how many copies it sells. They paid like 100 Twitch streamers to all stream the game for X amount of time to get some more hype going up. Like, I remember, I think it was last year, I think I've tried to black it out, where there was the complaints to you guys that you weren't talking about the game. And everybody started getting worried because you weren't saying the details like you normally would. You weren't giving us all some tidbits of what was going on. And then you released that fucking awful video on your Football Manager channel. And it's like wasn't it like an hour long, and there was no sound, or the sound was broken, and it was awful, and it was just like this nothing video. And anyone that watched that was like, you know, it got heavily disliked. I don't think it's even on your channel anymore. That says it all. But if you'd gone, you know what? Instead of us just half-arsing it, let's give early access to one of those YouTubers, or a few of those YouTubers, and let them make a sort of hype video. You know, we'll sign an NDA to say that, you know, we won't talk about X, Y, and Z or whatever it is. Z? Oh, I'm fucking American now. X, Y, and Z. That says we'll only talk about certain aspects of the game. But we, because we love the game so much, and we do this thing, this YouTube thing all the time, and therefore are half decent and making videos and editing and all that stuff, we can just do that for you. And it wouldn't even be like a big payment or something like that. It would just be like, you know, we'll make a video for your channel with a sort of 2 weeks, you know, early, talking about some of the hype and some of the new features, or just playing the game for a week, or just showing one match, whatever it is, and talk about it. And, as you know, as long as we can talk about our channel or get paid a small amount for our time, that is so much more valuable. You know, even a lot of these FM YouTubers like Work the Space and Dr. Benji and me and others have got decent Twitter followings. You know, a tweet from us actually reaches people. And I think you're just so wasting the opportunity of what we could provide for you. And like I said, I'm happy. I would really like you to do these things, but if it means that I have to count myself out because I made this video to you, then that's fine. I just want Football Manager to be better than it is and do better, because it's so far behind when it comes to all that social media side of things. It's not good enough for Miles to make a video while sitting in the stand at Watford talking about the latest features. Okay, that's a useful video. That's great. Do that. But do more alongside it. Use your Football Manager YouTube channel that you haven't uploaded to for 6 months. It's bonkers. It makes no business sense whatsoever. Right, I think I'm going to end it there because I've rambled on far too long. I've probably missed half the points I meant to make. But I just want to end by saying I love Football Manager. I have for 20 odd years. It's an amazing game. It continues to be amazing. It does get better every year. I just want you to focus on some of the other things that didn't exist 10 years ago, right? Embrace this new stuff. Don't hide behind excuses like the copyright thing, right? If you're that worried about it, when you talk to us, just ask us not to download stuff, and that would be fine. You know, there's reason, you know, there's ways around that in a second. That's just a really bad excuse for not doing what every other game company does. I hope you watched this whole video. I hope you're not upset that I've had a bit of a rant and a ramble, but I think I've got some good points across. If you want to talk to me, I'll put my email address in my description, or you can tweet me. That's also in the description as well, and we can have a chat. I would love to get involved, free of charge. I would love to chat to you about more in detail about my ideas and stuff like this. I am a business consultant in real life. That's kind of why I wanted to make, part of the reason why I wanted to make this video, because it's not just bullshit. I know a bit of what I'm talking about. So thank you very much, everyone that's watched. Also, people that, non-Sports Interactive people, if you've got, you know, stuff you want to get out, put it in the comments. Hopefully they will read this or see this video, read the comments. If there's ideas you've got for how they can improve. And I'm not talking about the game itself so much, and that's for a different time. I'm talking about the business aspect as a whole. Get your points across, you know, ways to improve, ideas, anything like that might help them. Because at the end of the day, we are all massive fans of Football Manager. And we want Football Manager to grow. We want Football Manager to be better. And if we can help in any way, shape or form, then we should try and do that. So thank you very much for watching. It's like a dear letter, wasn't it? So yours sincerely, Loki Doki.